Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be diving back into our fake game ad and transforming it from this to this. Now buckle up because this is going to be one wild ride. So despite the seemingly eternal wait for this follow-up video, I promise you I actually polished this game under a week. Trust me bro. But for those doubting Thomases out there, if you want to see me tackle a game within a week, just drop a comment with your game idea and I might just make it happen. So quickly moving on, next step is to create the scoring system. Now I was torn between scoring based on how many boulders you destroy or how long you can survive in the game. But since I wanted an endless format, I went with survival time. So this way, it makes more sense for an endless game. First, I whipped up a script to increase the score every second. Then I added a multiplier that grows as the game progresses. Then I added a UI text object to display the score. Now next is the death system, and spoiler alert, you die. Now just like in our reference video, the player dies when the boulder touches them. So I wrote a script to detect when a boulder gives you a hug of doom and show some death indication. We'll add a fancier death animation later. Also, notice how the player keeps shooting even after death. We need to disable these movements and shooting mechanics and the score timer also after the player dies. Now that the score system and death system are completed, we need to start polishing. To speed things up, we are using assets from the asset store. I found some awesome free assets that look similar to the ones in the ad. Plus, I grabbed some free character assets while I was at it. With these assets in hand, it's time for world creation. I made use of Unity's terrain system to pretty much paint in some of the magma textures and also added some rocks to the walls so that it don't just look so flat and prototypey. So basically giving it the same vibe as the environment in our reference video. And yeah, this looks pretty good in my opinion. You know, I'm something of a AAA game level designer myself. Now let's give our Mr. Bean here and the boulders the same AAA touch. To animate him, I took his rig over to Mixamo, then downloaded some of the left and right gun strafing animations, and then imported them to Unity. I used the blend tree in my animation controller to handle the left and right movements seamlessly, blending in and out of the idle animation instead of using the animator's boolean and trigger parameters because you know I'm such a pro game developer. Now picking up what's left of my pride, I added the gun model and voila, a decently animated shooting guy. I replaced the models for the clones also and added power up indicators too. To spice up the game's looks, I added some post-processing and brought in particle effects for the boulder destructions and power-ups. Side note, there are better ways to make your game look and feel better using assets like Feel from the asset store, but that costs $50 and that's actually more than the minimum wage in my country, so I'm implementing these effects manually. Maybe subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know one day your boy can finally afford some paid assets. Okay, now moving on to the final stages of polishing is adding music to your games. I used a software called BFXR, and after a quite unreasonable amount of time trying to tweak sliders, I finally got some good sounds. Then I coded those sounds into the game. And there we have it, a completely polished game. We went from this to this, and honestly, that's a big fat juicy W. So you want to try this game? There's a link in the description below. I got more interesting fake game ad mechanics to replicate, so stay tuned. See you guys in the next one. Bye.